What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today we are going to be talking about why the Great Pumpkin King needed to get patched. Either right before or maybe right after this video goes live, we are going to be seeing a small patch to the game that, as far as I know, the only change is going to be the removal of Pumpkin King at tier 5 and pushing it up to be a tier 6 unit, which just means that we're going to be seeing it a lot less early and a lot less often because they're, in addition to just being more expensive, there's actually less tier 6 units in the pool. So the fact that Pumpkin King was moved down to tier 5 wound up being a pretty big change because it meant that more players could pick them up and more players could upgrade it easier as well. There's another thing that I think that is a big piece of the puzzle that I think that still needs to get looked at, and that's the fact that evil comps don't really gain that much from tier 6 treasures, but there are a lot of good tier 5 treasures that evil comps can make use of. And playing Geppetto, so we're going to pick up the Black Cat. Unfortunately, we sharded our other egg into a Minotaur, so we're not able to grab an egg upgrade here, but we are still able to do some wonderful things with Geppetto. And Geppetto was seeing a lot of use on this Pumpkin patch, where Pumpkin was a 5-cost unit. And that's because Geppetto's hero power just works really well with the Great Pumpkin. It's basically like a free monkey's paw, getting to give +5/+5 or +6/6 to everything that the pumpkin summons. Turns out that's pretty good. And if those summon things, and obviously you can do that and also have a monkey's paw. So it's a little bit better than just having a monkey's paw. And because of that, XP winds up being pretty decent on Geppetto. So this is a little bit of a risk. We probably don't win, but against a mask, I don't know. There's two ways to play this here. Like, you can lock and pick up like the donkey and the sure shot. You can lock and pick up donkey and mummy, or you can just rip this spell. And it's pretty close, but the donkey also has huge implications for Geppetto because it will summon something and then give that something +3/+3. So for that reason, I do decide to pick up the Trojan donkey and the Sherwood sure shot. And now next turn, I am just locking, and then I'm also going to have a decision to make. I could pick up Mummy plus Spellweaver or Mummy plus something else that rolls into the shop and lock the Wish Upon a Star again. It's definitely an option. But I definitely do think that I want XP. I'm just debating different things that I could do, but I do think I want this XP on Geppetto just because Geppetto can get such a huge power spike from hitting level 5 and finding those pumpkins before the other players. And that is basically what we're going to go for. You can see the donkey putting in a ton of work. We could have sold like this entire back line. That wouldn't quite have been enough to get the Wish Upon a Star, so would have been a little bit tricky. But here, like I said, there is definitely a choice. You can go Mummy plus, I guess you'd take the Shadow Assassin at this point before you take the Spellweaver. You could also grab the Wish Upon a Star and sell Sherwood Sure Shot and an egg and buy a mummy. That's kind of interesting. I don't really like my chances against Pup. I think Pup is a pretty good hero, and we'll definitely be looking at some Pup videos after I get through my pumpkin videos. Basically, I'm going to upload 2 or 3 pumpkin videos today. One is this one, and then I'm going to upload one fun pumpkin video from a Twitch stream that I did. And that's mostly probably going to be unedited, maybe with a little talking in the beginning and end. And then tomorrow, I think I'm going to upload a Grandmother Pumpkin video, which is the other hero that really did a lot of work. And I think my video tomorrow, this one is more just like talking and showcasing the state of Pumpkin, because in this video there's like pumpkins everywhere, not to spoil too much. But my video tomorrow, I think, is my best pumpkin game that I wound up putting together. So we take a little bit of damage here, but we were at 40, so not a huge deal. We lose both of our eggs as well, but also not a huge deal. And honestly, this Masquerade Ball seems great. It gives us 3 5s, which is a decent shot to hit the pumpkin. And we don't get the pumpkin, but we get honestly 4 really good units. I like all of these units. So I got to figure out exactly what order I want to buy them in. The Wombats is really good with Geppetto and would probably, like, alone could make us win the fight, but I do think that I want Lancelot first, just because getting scaling on Lancelot is going to be helpful. And who knows, maybe this donkey can just pull something out and do really well for us. A little bit unlikely against Merlin, but you never know. Maybe we can make something work. So gonna pick up the lance first, and then next combat we are going to have 8 gold, which is a little bit of an awkward number, but I really like this Wombats on Geppetto, and then I really like this Nutcracker while we are ahead in XP, and I like the Apple Tree because I like the evil units. Once we start picking up the pumpkin, it's going to be nice to have at least some evil units already in the comp, but we will roll for pumpkin first, and we'll just play pumpkin, black cat, minotaur if we really need to, if that's super necessary. We are going to get a sleigh here with Lancelot, so despite losing this combat, taking 7 damage is probably worth the little bit of stats that we get on Lancelot, basically like paying 2 health for +2/+2 on Lance maybe, and that can really just be important going forward after that. So I like the fact that we picked that up. Shrink Ray, Shrink Spell, whatever that spell is called, is going to be good as well, just in terms of allowing us to afford some things. I do want to pick up the Nutcracker as soon as possible to also try to complete that treasure. And I want to pick the Wombats up because that is just going to be the strongest thing with our hero power. Then I think I'm going to lock these 2 evil units. Like I said, I want to have some evil stuff for when the pumpkin cometh. So we're locking those for the next one, and then we will have one more turn, and then we'll be able to start rolling for some pumpkins. So that is kind of the idea. My opponent with a Medusa of their own, but let's see, what does Wombats give us? Okay, that is not a bad unit, the Godmother here. If the Wizard's Familiar could have hit that, that would have been really good. But honestly, like, the Lance is still going to be able to do some work, as is the Godmother. A Reduplicator's a little bit annoying here, though. Well, at the very least, Lance gets another sleigh and saves us some damage. But we go down to 19. Like I said, I am just going to be picking up both of these evil units. I'll try to figure out exactly how we are slotting them in. And then I don't think I want the doubly. I think I'm just going to roll. I don't really... Okay, well, I was going to say I don't really know if there's anything that I need to roll for, but Cat's Call is really good on Geppetto. If I want to sell probably the donkey and then just buy the Cat's Call, that will ensure that we take a lot less damage against the lobby leader right now as we face up against Mrs. Claus. So I think just double checking exactly what we want to sell, but this Cat's Call buys us a lot of time because next turn we are going to be level 5, and then we'll just roll for pumpkin, and we've already got 4 other evil units. We're halfway to a lance, and maybe we can make something work here. Going to rearrange my units slightly. I'm not sure exactly what the best configuration of these things is, but when you've got Cat's Call, it does also incentivize you to backline your Medusa, because then the Medusa has some built-in protection there. So this could definitely be pretty good, and the Lancelot will have some protection too. So hopefully this Cat's Call is enough. They are going to dragon, but Lance is just big enough that that dragon is not going to matter. We are then going to get ourselves our own dragon, and my opponent is going to slay with their Ogre Princess, but I mean, after that, it looks like we are going to be able to clean some stuff up. Yeah, all they have is a Sherwood Sure Shot. We're actually not even going to get to attack with our Lancelot because the Apple Tree takes down the Sure Shot along with the Cat's Call, and we kill the lobby leader's Needle Nose Daggers. So gotta feel pretty good about that one. I'm going to pick up these chickens just in case we don't find the Pumpkin King immediately, but then I'm just really rolling down for Pumpkin King. Do want to at least consider some potential spells that we can find, but there we go. There is the Great Pumpkin King itself, so we'll slot that into our final slot here, and then we do have to decide, like, do we want to play the Minotaur just so that we summon an additional evil unit? We could play the Minotaur over, like, the Wombat or the Nutcracker. I don't think it's going to make its way into the comp, and I think I'm also going to move Medusa to the front line as my other big change here before the combat gets started. My opponent blows my pumpkin up, so that is a pretty huge... it's pretty huge against us right now. And my opponent also has a sarcophagus. Just kind of lost my losing my marbles here as we are definitely going to be losing this fight. But the Wombat is an animal that's going to grow the Vulture a little bit. And what do you know? We get a pumpkin off of our Wombats. That was one of the other reasons I wanted to showcase this game, because we were playing with so many summons and things that it was just absolutely hilarious to me that we were able to spawn a pumpkin off of our Wombats, and you can see how much pumpkin helps these fights. We totally turn it around. And speaking of turn it around here, I feel like I remember okay, I don't go for the trash can. I feel like I remember buying more XP in this game, but maybe I'm thinking of a different game. I must be, because really all that we want right now is more pumpkins. I'll roll and like potentially pick up a Siren, but I'm not even super inclined to get a Siren in right now. Medusa's fine. Medusa also builds us towards a treasure, so that is one reason to pick that up. But you do see I roll past the Nyan Sea Terror there, and then just wind up picking up another chicken for Econ on our next turn. But so there's a few main treasures that the pumpkin strategies really were looking towards, and we're going to see me use some of them in this video, but the main one is that Sark that our opponent, our Jack's Giant opponent, just had in that last combat. When you can get an early Sark, that definitely pushes you into a strategy that you might already want to play regardless, because it is really good. Opponent sniping both of our Medusas, pretty ugly there, but Wombats again delivers for us, finds us a nice little 11 attack mummy, and the Rotten Apple Tree is also going to do some nice things. So all of this is really sweet. If my opponent can kill my mummy, mummy can then potentially take out Baba Yaga, and then let's see what this pumpkin do. Well, it gets another Medusa for us. That's really good. That is going to ensure that all we have to do is deal with this Shorewood Sure Shot, and we're going to be able to with our Vampire. So there we go, 6 damage to Adam's Peter Panson. One of the other things that I did not appreciate about Pumpkin, as we pick up another one here, I think it really hurt the value of Peter Pants, because there was just so much scamming, and you'd play all of these like really fragile Spellweavers in your backline, and then they just die to Sarcophagus. That's right, I wanted to talk about other treasures. One of the best treasures that you can get with Pumpkin isn't here, so never mind. Yeah, none of these things are particularly exciting. Reduplicator's kind of cool with Geppetto. Honestly, I think this one's a skip. I might wind up taking the Reduplicator here. I think I do, just because I'm a little bit low on health. I mean, I'm in 3rd place in the lobby, but I just want to make sure that I'm not dying, and we'll at least double whatever comes out of wombats, and we're going to get some other good treasures potentially soon. I didn't really feel like I was going to be making that big of a use of the gold. But the treasures that we do want to get, in addition to the sarcophagus, are on 4, Summoning Portal, and on 5, Monkey's Paw and Mimic Chest. Those are some of the best ones that you can get. And my opponent going to shrivel our Lancelot, keep us from reaching that pinnacle a little bit longer, but we are going to get a treasure from our Nutcracker now. And you can see my opponent here with both of these backline sure shots, definitely seeming a little bit fragile, but we don't have a Sark yet, so we are going to still have to get through this Wizard's Familiar, and of course that's a fairly easy job for the Medusa. My opponent doesn't actually make that much with their pumpkin because their sure shots have yet to die. And then you can see we make some really wonderful stuff with our pumpkin. 2 monster books and a Medusa. So that is going to, and even just like the spawns from pumpkin, trade 1 for 1 with these sure shots. So we are able to hit my opponent for 8, hit Scrappy Doo for 8. What do we get off the Nutcracker? Here comes that aforementioned Summoning Portal. That is really, really good with pumpkins, and even more so when you're playing Pumpkin Geppetto. Could think about Hercules here. Like I said, there's not that really great of 6 drops for Geppetto, 6 cost treasures, but there are still some potential things that could be fun. So we will take a look and see what we can do. And then I think I'm going to play another tree. We're definitely running a little bit light on the evil units, so for that reason, I don't mind playing a tree. In 2 more combats, 2 more slays, or 1 more spell, we will be ready to activate our Lancelot, and then we can get that one out of there as well. But I do feel like with the XP that we picked up earlier in the game, and the fact that we have these 2 pumpkins and now 2 Summoner's Portal, I'm going to go for the Poison Apple also because just want to get a little bit more insurance. But I do think that we are actually doing pretty well off. My opponent going to crack open one of my pumpkins, so that's a little bit annoying, but pumpkins summoning these Medusas seem good enough, and we are going to trade 1 for 1 with my opponent's Hercules, but then you can see like now my pumpkin or anything that I spawn gets to trade with this Storm King, so all of that is pretty good. And the Summoner's Portal meant that the Chupacabra is then like able to trade with their backline stuff. So all of this is just quite fantastic. And we wind up hitting this player for 12, which seems pretty big here. I'd love to get a few more stats on this Lancelot so that we can grab a treasure for that. So definitely eyes peeled for that. But now we're in the top 4. So this game is getting close to the end game at this point. I do think Staff of the Old Toad is probably pretty good, though Sword of Fire and Ice, that's right, allows us to immediately get a Lancelot treasure, and it basically saves us 4 gold from having to cast this Gigantify. We can just grab this Sword of Fire and Ice, and now we can frontline or backline Lance. Either way, it's going to activate. So let's roll and see if we can't find one more good evil unit to throw in the comp. Monster Book is great, and this shop also has 3 big pigs and a croc spell. So I'm definitely going to be locking. That is going to give us plenty of evil units, and the 3 big pigs will also give us a ton of summons to go along with the Summoner's Portal. I actually have to debate the 3 big pigs, honestly, because it is such a... costs 6 gold. I don't love how much gold it costs. There's also an Echo Wood here, and I think I might wind up picking up the Croc and the Echo Wood on this next turn. And I feel like that could buy us a lot here. Shrivel on my opponent's pumpkin is going to be good. Again, we saw that Jack's Giant had that Sark, so they are definitely going to be looking to do pumpkin things. And we just have a bunch of Applewoods that have yet to die. So our pumpkin doesn't make that much, but the stuff that it makes is quite large. So we're actually doing pretty good here, and we just have to battle through my opponent's pumpkin. And I feel like this game is definitely winnable right now. Let's see. We're going to continue to clear off all of their summons, and then we'll clear off their pumpkin with this. But what is inside? Some decent units, a double Medusa, but nothing too crazy. I think that we're probably going to wind up taking maybe 10 damage on this fight, but we should be able to... oh, not even. Yeah, because our vampire was able to keep growing from some slaves. So we take 8, and now we get a look at a new tier 5 treasure. And Monkey's Paw is going to be a huge boon for this comp. Really enjoy that. I think I just take the Monkey's Paw and then wind up cutting the Sword of Fire and Ice, because there's actually something really kind of cute that we can do with this board now. And I'm thinking I actually don't want to pick up the 3 big pigs, because we still have this reduplicator, and now the first unit that we create will actually be the pumpkin. So we can actually do some really nice things by putting the pumpkin inside of the croc and making some interesting things happen. So Echo Wood is obviously pretty good with Geppetto and with the Monkey's Paw and with the Summoning Portal. There's a lot of really interesting things that does, and I do wind up picking it up here, but I very quickly wind up cutting it, I believe, because not only is this Jack's Giant playing the Great Pumpkin King, but so is this Morg. As we remember, this was the Spellweaver Morgana. So now we're going to see that we create a bunch of Pumpkin Kings from the Reduplicator. Awkward that it gets summoned into spot 1, but it's still going to give us a bunch of extra stats. Hopefully we can slay with this Hercules soon, or connect with this Hercules soon. But honestly, like, we really do have a ton of stats here just from the pumpkin. And the fact that we get to, like, reduplicator the pumpkin, I think is going to be pretty good. But my opponent gets us with a Medusa. So there we go. A little bit more scam. We are going to take 9 down to 2. And this is a full scam final 3. And I think this is part of the reason that we've seen the pumpkin get patched and become a 6-drop. And one thing that's really interesting too, once you... I definitely want more pumpkins for what it's worth, playing up against the ghost here. Once you croc the pumpkin, and we cracked a golden pumpkin, those pumpkins then go back into the pool, which means that players can find them again. So that just really leads to this instance where you can have 3 players in the top 3 of the game, and we're all playing this pumpkin comp. And that is definitely one of the reasons that it was just a little too much for everybody to deal with here. So hopefully we can get the treasure off the Hercules. Hopefully this opponent isn't also running some type of scam comp. But then we'll have our Croc be able to summon us some pumpkins, and hopefully that is enough stats to win the lobby. I think I actually got mixed up. Like I said, I've played so many different pumpkin games that I think I forgot that this one I did wind up trying to make the Echo Wood work. Like I said, it is a little bit weird with all of the scam going on to try to make the scam work yourself. Like there you see it only got up to 1313, but we should be able to make this one a little bit bigger as we are able to, or I don't know what I'm saying. We're going to be able to still do some big stuff, but like it gets scary up against the ghost even here just a little bit. Doesn't look like we're going to have too much of a problem though, as our units that come in from our second Pumpkin King are quite huge, and we still have a third Great Pumpkin to go. So there we go. There goes down the ghost, and now we are potentially in the top 2. Nice. Okay, so Jack's Giant takes out Morgana, who just beat us. But we've done a lot in the meantime. We've picked up another pumpkin. We have not completed our Hercules treasure, so that was probably a little bit of a waste of gold for us. And now I just want to consider, like, this is really tough. I almost just want to play this. Or, like, some combination where I want to respect the fact that my opponent has a Doom Breath in slot 1. And I almost want to move over my Applewood over into slot 2, so that way they're guaranteed to break my crock open, and then we summon 2 pumpkins out of that. And, like, this is all just about reducing the amount of scam that my opponent can pull on us. I'm thinking Monster Book is better than Apple Trees. And what else? Is there anything else we can do? Maybe I'd put in, like, another Monster Book, but I'm not super sure. We got the Pigomorph. That's basically all that we can do. Okay. Yeah, I like this. Maybe make it slightly less likely that our Echo Wood gets hit. Like, I do want to try to protect the Echo Wood if possible. And then I make a really quick last-second decision that if my opponent attacks the Monster Book, I want it to spawn the pumpkin first, which means we're going to reduplicate the pumpkin. That's just like a really small technical thing that wound up playing out huge. So one of the things, and I was kind of trying to get to this point, we also scammed one of their pumpkins in the back line, which was sweet. But one of the areas that I do like about these pumpkin battles, they do play on this very minute details of making these really tiny aspects of the game matter, and you can really min-max a lot of those different things. Looks like we're going to be just short of killing my opponent here, as both of my pumpkins fail to crack open. Oh wow, one does from the Sark, so we get a little bit more damage even so. We hit them for 21 down to 2. If only the Nyan Sea Terror had died, we would have beat them there. So that was really close, but we got lucky. And I want to consider just, like, I want to make sure that in this final fight, I'm playing, like, the optimal board, because a lot can go right here and a lot can go wrong. Sure, golden chicken just to... I'm also, like, counting up right now. If we sell both of these golden chickens and then sell the bench, how does that look for us? Can we afford to then pick up this knighthood? Turns out we're just a little bit short. I'd have to sell, like, the Monster Book and something too. But it's almost worth considering because I want to play around Doom Breath. Now I'm thinking about, like, different ways to set this up. There's so much, like, I also potentially want this Medusa that's in the shop. So there's just, like, so much minute stuff here to try to figure out. I'm thinking, like, maybe we frontline the croc. Maybe should I buy this chicken? Should I sell this chicken that I have to try to roll? If I sell everything real quick, I can upgrade the Medusa. And I wind up putting this golden chicken in replace of the Medusa here. And my opponent's Doom Breath hits on the Echo Wood, but we are able to summon the double pumpkins off of the Reduplicator. But then my opponent steals one. So this combat is absolutely all over the place. We break open one of their pumpkins. They still have 2 more pumpkins and a crocked pumpkin to go. We break open their second pumpkin. Okay, we've got 1 more pumpkin to get through. Please don't steal my other pumpkin with your siren. Okay, they do not. Then the vulture gets in. Then we trade pumpkins, so that's going to be a pumpkin poppin' party for both of us. But we now have a Medusa. No, we're not going to be able quite to get to their croc, but maybe they'll have too much stuff already spawned that their last pumpkin won't be as useful. We still only have 1 pumpkin here. Medusa's going to get in. Here comes their last pumpkin, so it's upgraded pumpkin versus pumpkin here. We are going to spawn a bunch of stuff, but all of our stuff gets a ton of stats from our summoning portal, and that could be enough. Well, they've got some scams here. They've got double Medusa plus Siren, which could just be brutal if Siren is able to connect and steal, which looks like it is. It's going to steal Medusa, so that's also really annoying. We kill one Medusa. Their second Medusa is now going to attack in and take away our book, so that's annoying. But we get their other Medusa, and hold on a second. All of a sudden, I think we've got the stats. And this was just a crazy one. This was an epic final battle. My opponent has to give it up for the emotes. I don't know who's supposed to win that. The simulator doesn't know who's supposed to win that because both myself and my opponent had a pumpkin inside of a crock. These games were just so messy and so silly, and who even knows who's winning the fair. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like Pumpkin also, because, I mean, who's to say? Was I supposed to win that combat? Was I supposed to lose? Was that fair? Was that scam? If we're both running pumpkins, who's scamming who? My opponent did a lot of sweet stuff, and I think they did a lot of good stuff. I think we just got lucky. I don't know. But either way, we're going to have to deal with a lot less of this going forward as Pumpkin is getting patched. I have one more video for you guys later today that is a Twitch stream, and then we'll have 2 more Pumpkin videos in the following days. Think I'm going to be doing like 2 videos a day. I don't want to like fully commit to that, but I think you're going to start to notice that a little bit more if you are already a subscriber. And if you're not already a subscriber, what y'all doing? Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you around. But that is going to be it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.